Hey everybody, Josh RV Nerd here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. And while we always prefer to be able to kind of put a real hands-on personal touch with our clients, right now, being hands-on and personal is not exactly what everyone's looking to do and comfortable with. So what we kind of thought we'd do here is step out of the ordinary. With every new RV at Haylett RV that we sell, one of the things that you get at no additional charge as part of our price tag is we walk through the trailer and show you how all this works. And if you weren't aware, every new RV that we sell includes the cost of getting it here, getting it ready, cleaning inside and out, showing you how it works, propane fill, battery, water, electric surge guards, a handful of other things, you know. So in an effort to kind of, you know, help this client feel comfortable, we thought we'd go through and record their walkthrough orientation, where basically I'll be taking the point of view of the customer, and Mr. Dwayne is going to be walking through the trailer with us today. Now understand, this is a little more specific to one trailer, and if you are the person purchasing this trailer and you have additional questions, please call us. We want to make sure that, you know, you are definitely set up and successful and ready to camp. Now, what this video is not intended for is for a million people to say, where are the low point drains on my camper? We can't answer individual questions like that, and we're happy to provide that level of individual service for any client that does make a purchase here at Haylett RV. But in the meantime, we thought this one would make a really good starter for a lot of people. Even if you don't have an RV yet, if you're kind of wanting to learn a little bit more about them, this beautiful Jayco Talon back here behind us at Haylett RV, you know, it's got generator and multiple air conditioners. It's a toy hauler. It has like almost any widget that almost any RV could have. So we thought this would be a pretty good one to be maybe not all encompassing, but pretty broad spectrum doing it live for a lot of people. So with that, stay tuned, have fun, happy Haylett camping, everyone. All right, folks, so that's Mr. Dwayne right there, and as you can see, he's putting on some safety gear. One of the things that we're doing here during this time at Haylett RV is you'll notice, and actually I'm wearing all the same equipment. You can see Mr. Dwayne has his mask, has some gloves. We're putting on some booties so that we're not, you know, we're eliminating and controlling as much cross-contamination as possible. It's just those little safety things that we're doing. Then after this is done, we are actually going to have a crew come through and clean the inside of the RV so that anything that we do happen to touch, or any of these door handles, like his hands on right there, again, we are eliminating that cross-contamination of any sort of, who knows, little fuzzy bugs floating through the air. All right, so this is Mr. Dwayne Denny. We're both ready. And again, folks, remember, this is going to be a little bit generalized. If you are the owner of this RV and have specific questions, please give us a call. And if you have specific questions, remember, anytime you purchase a new RV from Haylett RV, we are happy to provide you with that personal level of service. So without me talking anymore, Mr. Dwayne, take her away.
Where we're going to start right here with the steps, because the steps fold up and go into the doorway. Most important thing about these steps is this door needs to be 100% open, therefore the steps do not catch going in or out. The next very important thing with these steps are, if you look right here where I have my finger, the silver threshold and the black threshold need to set as tightly as possible together. That way the door will close. What we're speaking of, if the steps are up like this, you could obviously see when the door swings, it's going to hit this black threshold. We don't want that to happen.
So lift that up again just to kind of, so if the steps are sitting up too high and this goes to close, you're going to have a conflict right here. So that's what he means. You want to make sure that this black piece and the silver piece below it are basically flush with one another.
And how we accomplish that, Josh is going to focus right here on these legs. And if you notice, the legs have holes. The leg will slide up and down by simply removing the pin on both sides and then slide the leg in or out to where you need it to be. At that point, you line your hole back up, slide your pin back in. Be very aware that on a campsite, you may have 8 holes out on this side and you might only have 6 on this side to get the steps to set evenly and level for you. With that being said, out here, sorry folks, my glasses fog up. We have a step light switch right here that will illuminate the underside of the steps at night.
There's a light under the skirt edge right there.
Yep. We have an outside speaker here and there. Obviously, we have the assist handle on the way in, and we have the door handle on the way in.
For anyone who is curious, by the way, that is just an extra accessory that you can purchase here at Haylett RV to go right onto these kind of stable steps. Sorry, Dwayne. Occasionally, I just got to plug the store.
Oh, yeah, no. And I normally offer those options to people when they're here. Like Josh said, this is going to be, it's a little different for all of us. Where we're going to start is right here, right in front of Josh is our control panel. And part of this control panel, you do not have to use the screen for. We have lights here. They actually have the light symbol. And this is part of where we're going to say this right up front. We have owner's manuals for this stuff in the green pack in the unit. We have operator's manuals for them. But at some point in time, we do what we say, you have to take ownership of this. You have to come in and get familiar with how your systems work. If you're absolutely lost, Josh will tell you, go ahead and call us. But still, at some point, for you to be comfortable, you need to use all your systems. So here we go. One's here, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it'll be kind of like when you get a new house and you got to learn the light switches. But basically what he's saying, folks, is there are direct access light switch buttons, and then you have this little guy over here where you can select awning 1, awning 2, slide 1, 2, 3, etc. There's different things that you can do right here without having to go through all the touchscreen mumbo jumbo, which is cool, but it does give you direct access to your most frequently used items.
Yes. So as we go through, I don't know if Josh can really get this. We have like our little house for home and on down through for our symbols, and we would touch those. And this brings up our tanks. The blue level that's there would indicate the amount of fluid in that tank. That happens to be the freshwater tank. Therefore, we have approximately half a tank. Your gray tanks are in here, your black tanks are in here. The biggest thing about these tanks in this monitor is this is how you will know to dump your tank. You never want to dump a gray tank or a black tank in this unit till at least it's 1/3 full. In other words, we need that amount of liquid, or what we call head pressure, to rinse the tanks out. We don't want to get to a campground that has hookups on the campground and go out and hook up our sewer hose and put it into the dump station and pull our valves. What will happen is when we use our restroom, we flush the lab, the water closet, the solid things will end up sticking in the tank. It does not flush like your house. So we will get to that, but never get to the park, hook up to your sewer hose and open your valves. You want to trust this and never empty them until they're at least 1/3 full. With that being said, we'll just move on down here a little bit. You can do internal leveling from in here, but the easiest ways actually is to do it from outside.
And we'll go through that when we get out there.
We'll go through that when we get outside.
Okay.
It's automatic from outside. In here, you would have to touch each and every control button to get it to level front, back, left to right.
Whereas outside, there's an auto function.
There's an auto function outside.
I like auto.
The little thermometer indicates this is where our thermostat is. And if you notice, this is main for the unit.
And that's what these little black jobs here, guys, those are thermal probe sensors. You might spot a couple of those through the camper. That is what's telling this what the temperature is in different zones, so it knows which or both air conditioner / furnace, whatever, to activate at a given time.
Yes. And with that being said, remember what these do. They sense your temperatures, so please, let's don't decorate around or over these.
Oh, yeah.
They will not be able to sense the air temperature. So people like to decorate with stuff, we understand that. You'll see these some places, they're just up on the wall by themselves. People want to hang pictures and stuff over them. It's gonna confuse your heating and cooling system if you do that. So at this point, we're going to simply scroll up with my finger. This is showing me the second AC, which in this unit would be in the front in the bedroom.
Okay, so, okay, just like that.
Yep, simply scroll.
Gotcha, easy.
And you know, it tells you whether you want heat, cool, your fan speeds. We could go into all that, but again, this is in your owner's manual. It's relatively simple.
So this is pretty straightforward. It's just a digital thermometer. I want it to cool. I want the fan on low. I want this, I tap it for on and off. Okay.
Really, really simple. Again, the same here. It's really, really simple. We'll just choose our mode. Fan speeds. Well, you got to turn it on first. You can hear it come on. It illuminated blue for cool. And the fan speed is on low at this point. I can change fan speeds and all that good kind of stuff right here, high to low.
Then again, I don't know if they're even really hearing it because this does have that Jayco whisper ducted air system here. In case anyone is curious, it's running at full bore right now, and that's all the sound it makes. They really do a heck of a job.
Well, Josh is focusing on that. We'll come to this at this point. This elongated register and this elongated register, you will see a slot on each side. Same over here, a little slot. You want to use a small screwdriver or something like that. Those are the air intakes for the air conditioning system, and they have small micro filters in them, kind of like foam. I can't tell you how often you'll have to clean that because I don't know what environment you're going to be in. But if these covers start looking dusty, dingy, you want to drop that down, take the filter out, simply come to your sink with warm soapy water, rinse it out, pat it dry, and put it back into place. It's one of those things, if you think it's dirty,
it's just like the furnace filter at your house. When it starts to look a little dingy, you just dust it off or swap in a new one. No sweat.
Exactly. So we can come back here again.
If I don't fall going up the stairs.
And we're going to come into our lighting situation, and anything that's blue is illuminating in the unit. You can see we have bedroom, we have hallway entry.
Now, something that a lot of people don't realize, you can turn these on and off, but it also does have dimmer function.
Yes.
It just isn't really conducive. Like, let me see if I can get it to go here in the living room. So you can dim right here off this panel. Now, if you can do it on the panel, you can do it on your phone once you're synced. So keep that in mind.
Exactly. That's where we're going to come to the individual wall mounted. If Josh can get a close up of that, it will tell you ceiling lights, hall unit, slide, extend, slide, retract. This particular one is dealing with the bedroom for the slide.
Now, one other thing to keep in mind, folks, you see one of those panels right here next to me. You see one of those little control panels over there. You see one next to the sofa. Every single one of these will be different and kind of specialized for that area of the camper. So when you're over here in your sofa, in the slide, you can turn on and off your lights. You can open and close this slide. You can open and close, well, you can turn off your cargo ceiling lights in the bunk room. Yes. You know, so each panel is a little bit different, but it makes sense to do the functions based on that area of the camper.
Yes. Exactly.
I'm getting good at this going backwards upstairs thing, Dwayne. Did you see that?
So we're going to come to, it's a tire pressure monitor. Again, that's a function that you may or may not want to use. Some people do, some people don't. Some people just want to go out and check them with an air gauge.
Yeah,
so,
some of these Jaycos, for those who aren't aware, some of these Jaycos come with little Bluetooth tire pressure monitoring valve stem caps that you can put on the RV if you want to, but not all of the Jaycos do. Some do, some don't. If you're kind of curious, give your sales contact a call so we can let you know how your individual trailer is equipped.
And then we're coming back here, and this one's really, really simple. It's telling us battery and fuel. The 13.5 volts is what this unit is charging the battery at this point, and the fuel obviously is empty. There's probably just enough been put in to test the generator.
When you said 13.5 volts, it's charging the unit. That means that's the power that's currently existing in reserve on the battery, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's kind of like your battery's gas tank.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I see how you are.
Hey, we're going to figure this out together. Now, Dwayne and I have never done this before, guys. And this is really kind of throwing Dwayne out of his normal sphere of influence here, but we're going to make it happen. That's what we do for our clients. What's up?
We're going to do a couple of safety speeches right now.
Great.
Right above Josh right here is a battery-operated smoke detector. We recommend, just like your house, if you have a battery-operated smoke detector, once a year change the battery. We recommend that if this is the fall, when you're going to put this unit into storage, open that smoke detector and take the battery out. That way, if the battery is close to the end of its life, it doesn't die in there over the winter, get cold, and start to corrode the fixtures in there and destroy your smoke detector for you. So take the battery out and replace it at least once a year.
All right.
Smoke the fire extinguisher is by the door. Our best recommendation is, you see the space that Josh and I are in. It's a very small space. even if you are a firefighter, the firefighters will recommend you do not try to fight a fire in this space. Please just exit the unit.
Now, a little safety tip for you guys. Kind of like once a year, change your batteries. Once or twice a year, take this out and shake it really, really hard. Because there's actually a powder in there that if you don't do that, it'll get condensed and then your extinguisher won't work.
Somewhere here, John.
What you looking for, partner?
LP CO2 detector. It's got to be
Right down here.
Oh, tight.
Yeah, it's black on black.
This little box right here is our LP carbon monoxide detector. That's going to make a different sound than a smoke alarm does. You will not be able to miss that sound. It's strange, it squeals, it beeps. If you hear this go off in this unit, do not ask why. Go out, leave the door open. I will show you where to shut the LP off. Because at that point, it's more than likely detecting an LP leak. Let this unit air out and turn the LP back on. If it goes off again, there's a high probability that you have an LP leak somewhere in a line or a fixture in a unit that will require service.
The good news is that is unbelievably exceptionally rare. Also keep in mind that these things have a lifespan.
Yep.
And it could last 2 years, it could last 10 years. Again, kind of like the AC filters, it depends on the air quality of your location. Also, unlike the smoke detector, this does not feed power off of a separate battery. This feeds power off of the coach. So the actual 12-volt battery that's feeding the RV is what powers this. If this goes into low power, it will start beeping. So kind of keep that in mind because it's saying, hey, I'm losing power, I can't keep your family safe.
The other part of the function of this is CO carbon monoxide. The most likely candidate for making this go off on carbon monoxide is your furnace. And why I say that is we will show you when we get outside. The furnace exits outside on an exterior wall, and wasps, small birds love to build nests on those exhausts. And therefore when you turn your furnace on, it can force the exhaust back in the unit. Again, don't ask why it went off. Go out, shut the LP off. In that case, check the outlet to the furnace. This is probably a point where Josh would plug the store by saying, that's why we recommend bug filter screens for the furnace exhaust and for your water heater.
Well, folks, Dwayne is right. So here at Haylett RV, we do recommend you get those little mud dauber screens.
Yep.
No, it's just joking aside, it's a safety item, and it's one of those things where an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. All right, folks, so as promised, we're up here in the bathroom, and you've technically now been in the shower with Mr. Dwayne.
Yeah.
So what's up, Mr. Dwayne?
Hey, we're starting in the shower here. I'm standing here just because there's not enough room for me and Josh, so I'm making a little space. This little catch right here is very, very important. These are tempered glass doors, but they need to be locked for transport so they don't freely roll.
Yeah, that's bad.
Because it's a tri-fold door, you see what it does. Gives you lots of room, front or back.
Now, when you get to your destination, show them again. Pull that other side again there, Mr. Dwayne.
Right.
Unlock that. Slide that open. There you go. When you get to your destination, you can leave it like this for easy in and out. But
Yes.
that is for travel.
Yes, and that must be there or you will end up with 200,000 little pieces of safety glass. So we're just going to latch it for transport.
Put that on your departure checklist.
Yes, your toilet. As you notice, this toilet's been flushed, and if you notice, there's a very small amount of liquid in the toilet. There's just enough to help keep sewer gases out. The black ring is the primary seal, the water is the secondary seal. In order for you to use this toilet correctly, we need to, I don't know if Josh can get a picture of the foot lever.
Yep.
The first little bit that we push down on that, without opening the center, is going to, see, it's preloading water into the bowl.
So partial push activates water.
Yep. And we want to load this bowl to the amount about that you approximately have in your home toilet. So let's say that's enough for my use. That way solids don't stick to this toilet and we have enough water to flush them with. So at this point we'd go ahead and do our business, and then we would stand up, foot flush, clear to the floor, and hold for an approximately count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then let up. Because this toilet does not flush like the one at your house, it does not have a tank. Whoever's using it's controlling the amount of water that's going into the tank along with the solids. We need to keep that at a water to solid ratio to where it'll flow. If we don't put enough water down here, we won't get the solids out of our tank.
And when you don't do that, you end up with what's called the pyramid, and that's bad news, guys. So do what Dwayne said here. Have a little extra water, keep your foot on it, a little extra bit to help flush that out.
We have a heat run right here that is directional. You can rotate that to direct the airflow where you choose it to go. Just like that. Again, in this unit, if we haven't set it, heat is going to be down low, cool is going to be up high. So these are air conditioning ducts here, and you can see that we can open and close this to get either more or less cooling into this room. And we can rotate it also so that, say, the cold draft from the air conditioning isn't blowing directly on you in the shower. As we move through, we have a fan here. This is our power. You hear the rattle, don't let it fool you. It's rattling because the vent was never opened. So the fan will run regardless. So be sure if you want it to evacuate moisture or odors that you open the fan vent doors on the outside so air can escape. If you turn this on and it's rattling again, it's because you haven't opened it and the fan blade is just cavitated in there. So in here we have a GFI. Right here.
What's GFI?
GFI is ground fault. What that does is, per se, it's people stay in their house. That way, if I'm standing here with my blow dryer and drop it in the sink and get it wet, I don't get electrocuted. It breaks the electric circuit at that point to whatever else is hooked to that GFI. In this unit, anything close to water is going to be hooked to a GFI.
So that's basically the, oops, I don't electrocute myself and burn down the camper plug.
Again, as we go outside, those outside outlets where we can get power to plug in a whatever you want to plug in, your radio, your TV, that kind of thing, will be connected to a GFI. That way, if I plug in my coffee pot in the morning and it's been raining and the ground is wet, I don't get electrocuted. It'll pop the circuit, discontinue electric to that circuit instead of electrocuting me.
Great.
So we have hot and cold running water. I don't know if you can hear it. It's very, very light in this unit. There's a slight purr when you turn on the water, and that would be the water pump function.
Assuming you're not hooked up to city water, because when you're on city water, you don't use the water pump.
Right.
So if you are not hooked up to a city water connection and your water's not working, walk over here or grab your phone and turn on your water pump.
Turn on your water pump. The shower is not enough for all.
Well, yeah, you're in travel mode.
That's how Josh said before. That's how we'd use it when we're parked, set up at the camp. It's like your normal shower. Step in and out. You don't have to step around. We would step up here and set our temperature to whatever desire we like. And then as we get ready to get in the shower, we can simply control the flow here.
That way you're not killing your holding tanks.
That way you're not killing, especially if, as Josh said, you're not on city water. You're hooked up just to your tank. You conserve water this way. Don't always call back to Haylett's and say, hey, my shower head isn't shutting off. You notice I didn't say this was on and off. This is a flow control. They don't guarantee that it shuts the water off. It's there to control the flow.
It goes into low pressure mode, not no pressure mode.
There you go.
That way you don't accidentally back power your seals and whatnot.
Yep. There is a skylight that you can see in your shower. There is a blue light, which has worked. You can use that as a night light if you choose. Just leave it on, especially people that have younger children or grandchildren traveling with them. A night light is handy.
Dwayne, I like that because I'm scared of the dark.
Yeah, me too. I'm scared. So right here, I'm going to step back into the shower. Josh is going to show you there's 3 light switches. One of them is a backlight. Yep. The other is the night light, and the other is the lights on the ceiling. Very simple.
All right.
One thing we should highly touch on here as we get ready to leave. In an RV toilet, only RV or marine grade toilet paper goes down there. Standard household toilet paper turns into paper mache in these. It does not break down. You need a toilet paper that is biodegradable, period.
Otherwise, you get the pyramid.
There you go.
All right, so we were in the shower with Mr. Dwayne. Now, folks, you're in the bedroom.
We're going to start right up here, guys. This is where we hook up our TV to. There's a mount bracket right here that you can see. This is television bracket location.
Well, there's not a bracket. There's a sticker indicating if you wanted to put a bracket, this is where it goes. Now, how big of a TV can we put up here, Mr. Dwayne? You want to be conservative, right? You probably, in this room, you don't want much more than 22 inches up here.
Right.
It's made for a small TV. It's not made for a 70-inch. Not to mention, guys, remember, when this slide out closes, you got to make sure it won't hit the TV. So you can't put something too large right there.
No.
Now, why are there two coax hookups?
One on this is for cable, and one is for TV in here.
Okay.
This, a lot of people don't realize what this is. It's the older style 12-volt cigarette lighter type hookup where you could actually run a 12-volt TV.
Very handy for boondockers.
Right. 110 hookup. Again, we have AC in the ceiling. Your AC's here. This particular AC unit is what we call a standalone. Here and here are where its filters are. So again, you would just pop that down, wash the filter when needed, when it looks dirty.
Now, you mentioned this as a standalone, but this is still centralized. This still pushes through the air vents in the entire ceiling.
Right.
Another neat thing this has is if you just want to breathe icicles in here, this is called a cold air dump. That will dump the cold air from this air conditioner in here and not run it through the vents. But correct me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, if you do that long term and recycle too much cold air, it could be like the cars in the 70s where you're like, it'll start shooting, frost at you, right?
Yeah, right. And exactly what it'll do, what they'll say, again, it's temperature and humidity, but if you run what we call the center dump too long, it'll actually freeze the unit off, and the unit it'll shut itself down and go into defrost mode.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we don't want a center dump very long. We don't want a center dump more than probably an hour, hour and a half.
So it's good when you first get to your campsite if you just want to cool the bedroom down and then re-centralize.
As Josh pans around, you can see the lights in the ceiling. On this side of the bed, up high, we have light switches. We have your charging center there for your phones. Again, we have lights.
There's light switches
hiding
under that cabinet. They're easy to miss. So this specific RV has different switches for left, right, bedsides, and that's an easy thing to miss. Most RVs don't have that.
Again, here is one of the individualized panels switches for, and this one is for your ceiling lights, your hall light, all interior, all exterior. So you come to bed and you forgot to shut off the outside lights, you don't have to get up or you could use your phone, but you can touch that switch.
Right. Another cool thing, guys, if you wake up at night and you're too hot, too cold, you can grab your phone and you can control your heating and cooling from your phone in bed. You don't even got to put on pants.
Exactly. Another heat run here, and this one does rotate also. We do have some underbed storage.
That's pretty good, actually.
If you notice here is the 50 amp power cord for this unit. So it's up underneath the bed when this unit gets delivered. And it's simply what we want you to do here is there's a piece of plywood right here. So when you go to pick up on the plywood, and when you go to put it down, simply just use your elbows. And it'll go down.
There you go.
If you don't pick up on the plywood, this is what happens.
Nothing.
Okay. Any window that has this style of blind, ladies and gentlemen, these strings control the amount of tension that's on this blind.
That means how easy it is to go up and down.
Yes. And if you notice here, they're connected to little things that almost look like little circles or little yo-yos. You notice this one is just knotted, ran through. Say you get to a campground somewhere and this blind refuses to stay up. Don't let it ruin your vacation because it won't stay up. Simply check here, and it's probably come unknotted and you will just pass it back through the hole and re-knot it till it has a little tension on it.
So basically, you just pull that string till it's a little more taut, and then you just throw a knot in it so it can't backfeed itself.
And the reason I mention that is we've had a few people call. They've taken a trip somewhere to the west, beautiful scenery, and they can't get this blind to stay up, and they're trying to prop it up with a stick or whatever, where if they would have known just to redo the string, they'd have been great.
Gotcha. All right, anything else inside before we step outdoors?
Yes, your couch.
All right, let's learn all about the couch.
If you look here, you're gonna have to get close.
Need you to speak up.
Right here, we have a light feature. You can see what happens. We have a heat feature, the brighter, and we have a massage feature. Okay? They are all touch. You will learn that with these. We have a fireplace. It does have a remote, but you can also do it just with your finger. You notice it comes on. We have timers, we have light, we have temperature.
Now, cool thing with these Furrion electric space heating fireplaces, they have a proximity sensor. So if you, for some reason, have like a piece of cargo setting in front of it, and you didn't realize, or like one of the kids bumps the on button, if it goes, oh, something's too close to me, it will stop producing heat so you don't, you know, burn yourself or have a baby get burnt or something like that. Now, you can use them in heatless visual only mode like this as well.
Yes. Over here on the countertop, we have a push-up 110 power station. Simply push down on it, it's going to pop up. It's going to show you that we have 110. Now remember, this 110 again is GFI. And in this particular unit, it's going to go through the bathroom. We also have a charging station here. To put it down, there's a little red lip right here. We simply push in and let this down, reset it.
Fantastic.
That way we have our entire countertop to use. Again, we have hot and cold running water. We have a cutting board. And we have a strainer. Please, when you transport, make sure these are in the openings where they belong, so don't end up damaging your unit by sliding around in here like hockey pucks.
Well, another good idea when you're traveling, folks, there's actually a space under the sink where you can store those things so that they don't go blasting around. It's kind of dark inside there, so it's not going to be a good visual, but you get the idea. Okay, so this RV has a gas and electric RV fridge. Walk me through the basic operation of this thing.
How this works, we have an on and off button here, we have an auto gas button here, and we have a temperature setting.
So why does it say auto gas instead of electric gas?
What auto gas is it has an automatic fuel search on it. In other words, you put it on auto and it's going to search 110 first. When you're plugged into a 110 power source, it's going to look for that first. If it cannot find it, then it will automatically go to LP and ignite.
Gotcha, so it has an automatic backup. Now what if it is on gas mode and then you resume getting power?
It will automatically switch back the other direction.
So you don't have to do anything like turning the gas off, it will just go to electric mode.
100%. The only time it will stay on gas is if you have pushed that button to select gas only.
Gotcha.
As if in your boondocking.
All right.
And then you just simply set your temperature, whatever is desired that you prefer. That's it.
All right, now we're cooking.
Okay. How the cooktop works is, please, we need to fold the glass cover back.
Okay, so this is gonna sound funny, ladies and gentlemen. You do not fold that back down, Dwayne.
This is not a cooktop.
This is not the cooktop. That is a cover, okay. Now, what about these slots in the back? Some people say, oh, they're knife slots. Some people say they're ventilation slots. You're the tech, Mr. Dwayne. What are these things?
Okay. This particular one, if you look at its cut, it is a knife slot.
Because it has all these funky, different shaped slots.
Yes. In this unit, they are knife slots. We're going to go ahead and open the cooktop. If you look very closely, you have burner indicators. Little black dot shows you which burner we're going to light. At that point, you would turn the knob to the flame symbol and rotate and they'll light. It's that simple.
Now the sparker on the left sparks all three burners at the same time, right?
Yes. You can, I don't know if you can see it up, but you can see it spark, and it also sparks your oven.
Now that is a thing that's rather exclusive to Furrion ovens,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen. Most RV ovens, your sparker right there on the left side will not spark the oven. However, On a Furrion oven, it is very likely you're going to have to spark it multiple times because a Furrion oven will not begin to provide you gas flow until it detects sparks. So you don't turn your oven into what? A bomb.
A bomb. We also have a button right here off to the side, and it is illuminating the knobs for you.
And inside the oven.
And inside the oven.
So I can check my biscuits.
There you go.
You really butter my biscuits.
Yeah. Again, these outlets have stickers on them that say GFI. And the GFI again's in the bathroom in this unit. We've been to your couch. Josh did hit the individuals in these rooms.
The control panels?
The individual control panels. You have one basically for each area. Radios here. Standard radio. Standard TV.
So AM, FM, Bluetooth. Now a cool thing on this, it is still DVD. A lot of RVs have gotten away from that. What's neat though is this is Furrion, the TV's Furrion. They talk to each other through a thing called Furrion Smart Sense. It's something that we like on the Jaycos here at Haylett RV. If you just drop a DVD in, the TV itself will go, oh, you must want to watch, well, right now you're watching my bald head on that reflection with a nice little safety mask. But another cool thing is you have an HDMI input here, so if you want to, you can actually watch high-def stuff like if you've got a streaming stick. And there is an HDMI cord run from the back of that to the TV, so you can have high-def entertainment.
Yes, sir. At this point, we'll step to toy hauling.
So we're here in the garage. Now, a quick housekeeping note. This big box is not part of the RV. This is the new owner's hitch. This being a toy hauler, we had to have a place to put that, you know, in the meantime while the folks come collect their RV. So that out of the way, where are we starting back here, Mr. Dwayne?
Where we're going to start is we have a half bath here, Mr. Josh. You can look, it's got its own individual light switches, its own fan. Again, it's got an RV style toilet. We discussed on how to use those. We have hot and cold running water.
Fantastic. We've got another nightlight in here, you know, all the normal bathroom accoutrement, if you will. Let me back up here. Around Mr. Hitch. What's all this stuff on the wall?
We have a 110 outlet. Again, we have a place to hook up a TV. We have a 12 volt. So if you want to do a 12 volt TV again, if you're boondocking. This is the master bed cargo switch on and off. If you notice, when I touch the bed lift control up or down, nothing is happening because this is the central power for it, safety switch.
And it's lit so that when the light's on, the power's on. Easy.
Exactly. Here we have vent open.
Right above me, folks, and this is not a fantastic angle. I'm actually upside down and backwards, but that vent and power fan right there is controlled by the switch right next to Mr. Dwayne's hand.
And then we have a master light switch for back here. We also have a washer and dryer hookup here. Okay. Drain hot and cold water for your washer.
Now that looks like it's made for a combo setup?
That is, I would suggest.
Okay. Now, a lot of folks are kind of curious, like, well, what is this Darth Vader hood looking thing? And it's kind of funny I call it that because today is May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you. So, if you look at this, this looks exactly like a backup safety camera mount, and that's exactly what it is. The thing is, with this being a toy hauler, if you go over some bucks and chucks, sometimes you want to know that your stuff, like your bike, your Harley, didn't fall over in transit. If you want to, since this is prepped, you could add a observation camera in your garage. Now, that's also kind of cool if you're using this as an alternative bunkhouse to keep an eye on the kiddos at night. You could have that up in the bedroom. And then you could, some of those cameras actually have microphone two-way capability. So all of a sudden you can be like, Gregory, knock it off. And he'll be like, what? At least the first time anyway. Then they'll knock it off and they'll go to sleep.
The bed can come down. Obviously, it's up now for storage. These guys can fold out for a bed. If you want,
can you roll one of those over for us real quick?
We're going to roll it over, and you notice it's got stabilizer leg. Don't ever fold them down without our stabilizer leg.
That's so that when a big dude like me lays on it, you know, it's got support below me. Now, how does that work? Just a simple little push button?
Little push button right here. My finger, I'm going to push it in. It's going to rotate back down. It's going to lock itself in place.
Easy peasy.
Same when it comes up.
Now, if you don't want these to roll over, what do? There's a handy little lock right there.
Here, yes.
Boop. Now, when it's like that, this can't get too far. That's all the further it can get. So the kids can't be too funny and dump one another out of the thing.
Exactly. To stop our bed from coming up or going down, right here are the instructions. We have a simple little flip lever that stops things from moving. Yep.
So what this does, guys, and the sticker here tells you which position this works in, whether it's in top bed lock or unlock mode. So when you put it in top bed unlock mode, when you raise the sofas all the way up, it will trip the clip up there, which will then allow the bed to come down with the sofas the next time you lower that. And then you just flip it the opposite way, and the next time you put the sofas up, it'll leave the bed locked up like you've done right here.
Yes. Again, there's a individual control right here, ceiling ramp, security, and all exterior.
Lights.
As we step out, we have a deck.
Gotcha. And what's this handy retractable job right here?
This is a full view screen, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful.
You can put it all the way down, and all the way up.
And it magnet locks in the down position so that if you want to, you can just toe flip it back up, and you don't got to do any, bending over because we're roughing it, right, Dwayne?
Yeah, because we're roughing it.
Alrighty, so can you give us a quick little demo on how these little ramp patio gates work here?
And what we're going to do is we're simply going to open the gate. The gate here is held with magnets on this one. No catches, no latches. They're very strong. We are going to come back over here. We're going to unlatch it.
Little foot
You
peg.
can use your foot if you choose. It's going to pop out of place. We're going to rotate this back. And you are going to notice a black strap and a snap right here. We're going to bring it up and latch it.
That way it's not flapping in the breeze.
There's one back here because we have the hinge for the gate. We're going to latch it. We're simply going to pick this up slightly.
So you lift,
And it's going to come down.
lift, and lower. All right.
Like that.
And then the other side, you basically do the same thing. Now,
Exact same thing.
let me show you a quick note on the stairs. Okay, so on these steps, there's a couple things you could or should do. This variety of steps folds down flat, basically, if you want it to. You can pull these little pins on each side, and it can basically fold pretty much flat, so it takes up as little space as possible. But what you need to do on these, your little catches are these guys right here. That's how you unlatch it to disconnect it, or if you, obviously it'll re-catch itself. Then, this series of steps you actually take inside and you tie down using the RV's existing D-ring system, or theoretically you could put it in the pass-through storage. Okay, so hopping outside the camper here, just to give you a frame of reference, I wanted to step back. And as we move up here, Mr. Dwayne's going to start with our all-important propane system. Go ahead, Mr. Dwayne.
Yeah, with our propane system, remember we talked inside about the LP CO2 detector going off.
LP means liquid propane, by the way, folks.
So on our propane, right here, it's listed on top how to open it and how to close it. This is where you would shut it off.
Lefty, loosey, righty, tighty.
tighty.
Am I right?
Yes.
All right.
Again, we spoke about outside 110 outlets.
It's got the sticker, so it's GFI, so that if you do have something out here and it gets wet, it won't zippity zap
Yep.
you to death.
Here at Haylett's, one of the things you get is a 50 amp starter kit. This unit's 50 amp
With a 50 amp camper, of
with
course.
a 50 amp camper. This is a 50 amp circuit analyzer surge protector. You always want to plug this into your power pole first and then plug your unit into that.
Because what that will do, even though it's in the box right now, there's little indicator lights on that that will say there is or is not good power coming into the RV, so that you can proactively prevent damage instead of reactively repair it. Because an ounce of prevention's worth what? Pound a cure. What's this big bucket?
This big bucket is another part. It's actually stated on there. It's our RV starter kit.
Well, wouldn't you know that? Customized specifically for Haylett RV customers. How about that? HaylettRV.com.
In here we talked about RV and marine grade toilet paper. There is RV toilet treatment tabs. One tab goes right down the toilet before you start using the tank.
Now read the instructions on these, because each tab is basically rated to treat X gallons. Now they can vary from brand to brand, so you need to take a look at the black holding tank capacity of the RV that you're purchasing. Compare that to these to know if you need one or two. That's why sometimes people use the measuring stuff and some people use the tablets. I like the tablets because it's easy. Now, is there any problem if you use too many tablets?
I don't believe there's any such thing as using too many tablets. If you get to a point to where when you undo your sewer hose and the liquid coming out of it is blue, you're probably using too many tablets.
Gotcha. But long story short, if somebody has a 50-gallon tank and each tablet treats 30 gallons, using 2 tabs will never cause problems. You can use too little, you can't use too much.
You can't use too much.
Now, what are these jobs on the left side over here? Oh, I'm sorry. You were pointing out a couple more things on our starter
just
kit.
Another thing that's very important here is a water pressure regulator. We don't care if you hook that to the city water, and I'll show you that on the unit, or to the incoming water source for city water. This regulates the water pressure down to a usable amount of water for this unit.
So it doesn't matter which side of the incoming water hose you have, as long as you have it on there, that's all that counts.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Cool.
These guys here is obviously a light. It's obviously a 110 power unit. Another place for cable TV output. So you can have a TV out here.
Now this is a mount for one of those Furrion lit speakers, and I've done a separate video on that. If folks are curious, we'll drop a link for you if you want to know. What's that little guy?
This guy here is called a spray port. It kind of works like, if you're familiar with an air hose fitting, it pushes in and out. And on the other side, I'll show you, we have a hose you can bring out, clip into this, and use it to rinse your feet off, dogs' feet off, grandchildren's feet if you've been in the sand.
Put out the neighbor's campfire if they're a jerk.
It's another form of outside shower, but it only has cold water.
Gotcha. Anything else over here?
At this point on this side, other than, these are great options on these doors. These guys here correlate to these. They're magnet hold up. You're no more worrying about breaking anything when you bring the door down.
You don't have to worry about the sun degrading plastic clips. Now I noticed that you gave that a nice healthy shove right there. We often call these slam latches, folks, but in point of technicality, this variety is kind of like a compression latch, meaning you should give it a little bit of assistance. And what that might mean, can you grab that other side for me since I'm one-handed? That might mean that when you're dropping it, if it doesn't want to just push, gently lift the handle, and there you go. And now it's basically locked in place. And the cool thing about these, not every single person has a key for those, like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now, this looks like one of those thermal sensor probes. Why are one of these out here, Dwayne? Because the BM Pro system also monitors exterior temperature in relation to interior temperature. Almost got you on that one. Yeah. You got to get up at the crack of noon to get one past Mr. Dwayne. All right, so we already saw the propane system. Why did you want to bring me back over here, Mr. Dwayne?
We're on
opposite side of the trailer, by the way, folks.
We're on the opposite side of the trailer because this is your selector side, which tank you're drawing propane from. If it's pointed towards the rear of the unit as it is now, drawing off this tank. If it's pointed towards the front of the unit, then it's drawing off the tank on the door side. Okay, so what that lets you do is if this tank is empty, you flip the lever like it shows right here so that it's pulling off the one on the door side of the camper instead of the driver's side where we're standing currently. You can exchange this tank and never introduce a break in service, which means like air bubbles in your propane lines. Exactly.
Now, here's a handy tip for you folks. If the RV's not been used for a while, and you have all your propane stuff turned on and it's not working, what you want to do is this is going to sound down, but first make sure that your bottles are open, and secondly, go inside and light the stovetop and burn it really hard for a while because that will help bleed out most of those air bubbles. So it looks like next I'm looking at a automatic leveling system.
Yes, and it has all the directions right here. Big secret to turning this guy is touch the two arrows, the up and down arrow at the same time.
Okay, so you tap these two buttons at the same time to activate the panel. That's really handy so that the neighbor kid walking through can't muck with the thing.
Yeah, it doesn't just have.
Now, these have become much easier to operate over the years, folks. And remember, there are different auto leveling systems out there, but they've become much more user-friendly. And literally, you can just read this, and it will tell you exactly what you need to do. We don't need to spend 15 minutes showing you the auto leveling because they've become so much more user-friendly.
Other thing right here, these are called your federal identification tags. These are going to tell you who made your unit, your serial number, and tire pressures are the big thing there for most owners. Right
there, it says 80 PSI. Because remember, folks, you want to use the PSI rating off this sticker, not necessarily what's on the tires. Usually they match. There are instances in which sometimes they do not. What do we got in here?
Woo! Here we have our water control center. Normally red means you have an issue, but on this, don't let it bother you. The red simply indicates that our water pump is on and functioning. This is an outside shower, hot and cold running water. We would plug the slinky hose in there.
This is the same as that sprayer port on the other side. So you could use that hose on either side of the camper. Or, you know, you could always hop into the Haylett RV Parts and Service Center and get a second hose so you don't got to juggle.
And again, this is all pretty well self-explanatory. Sanitize or winterize, this is where we would hook up with a sanitizer to clean our system if it was ever needed, or where we hook up a hose to suck antifreeze into the system if ever needed.
And at first glance, guys, this stuff looks really intimidating, but it tells you if you have city water hookup, if you're filling your fresh water tank, if you're winterizing, I mean, if you know the difference between blue and green, or you can know the difference between left and right, and look at that, left and right, you're good to go. So I think even your kids could probably do this. This is not something to be intimidated over. Now right here, this is black tank flush. If I remember right, Mr. Dwayne, if I take a water hose and hook up to that, that basically blasts a torrent of water straight through the black tank to help get rid of any excess solid mass buildup, correct?
Yes, but do never hook your water hose up here, guys, until you're absolutely sure your black tank is pulled and open.
Oh yeah, because if you had your black tank empty or valve closed and you had water blasting into it, you could have a backflow of water up through your toilet into the RV, and that's, well, you know, farmers, they know a thing or two and they've seen a thing or two, but I don't know if they've covered that.
Right.
Have to get J.K. Simmons on it.
And again, here we have, in itself, it's listed black tank, gray tank, and gray tank. And yes, this unit does have 2 gray tanks.
One for the, yeah, this has 3. So this one right here is probably for the sink and shower in the bathroom. This is probably for our kitchen. And then the third one is most likely dedicated strictly to the washer dryer.
Unfortunately, he's hiding back here.
Just because there's so much distance between the RVs.
Right.
Oh, and there's a second black holding tank right here because remember, this is a bath and a half. So this does have 2 outlets on this specific RV. That's a terrible camera angle because of the backlight. You're having a hard time seeing it. The pole is up there. There you go. Now you can see it. Let me back up a little bit here.
It actually tells you right here.
Yep.
So anytime there's a sticker, please try to believe it. Even though that valve is hiding from plain sight, you could see it from right here.
Now, here's a cool Jayco feature, guys. This is one of those detail things not every brand does. In your front control center where we just were, there was a black tank flush. We talked about it. There's a second black tank flush here because you have 2 separate black tanks that are separated by, you know, about 20 feet of trailer. Not every RV will give you a black flush on a secondary toilet. Many do it only on a primary.
Exactly. Here's your fueling system for your generator and for your toys.
It has a shared fuel cell on a Talon, by the way. So the gas that you're putting in here, or the fuel, is going to be shared between the generator and the dispensing station, correct?
Yes. So right here, it's telling you the emergency shut-off switch is here in case you ever have an issue.
Hopefully you never have to know about that thing, but it's red, so you know, red means
hopefully
stop. It's easy to figure out.
Okay.
Now basically this works kind of just like a gas pump, right?
Yes. And
so what is this handy white wire you just pulled out right there?
And you'll notice, please, the white wire comes out when you're going to dispense fuel. And what this does is I'm going to fuel up my quad or whatever it is I'm riding, my side-by-side. I want to clamp this to a metal object on that side-by-side, whether it be the roll bar, door handle, whatever it is. This takes the static electricity so that you will not have a fire from exposed fuel.
Oh yeah, that's okay. So that's a fantastic safety item. So just because this is important, I want to say this again. When you are fueling, this is a ground clip. You're going to hook this up to something metallic on the four-wheeler, motorcycle, side-by-side that you are fueling. Now, if you fuel multiple devices, multiple things, hook this up to the one that you are fueling just to be safe that you have dispersed any latent static electrical charge on that RV, or that toy.
That way you don't end up being one of the videos on TV where you see somebody fueling something and all of a sudden they have the fireball. It's because they did not control or could not control the static electricity.
Now, I've been doing this 11 years. I've never personally had a client have that happen to them. Have you?
No.
Okay, so this is one of those situations, guys, where we are being a little bit scary on purpose. Even though it's an insanely low instance item, we're wanting to make sure it's a 0 instance item with a Haylett RV customer. Now, what are you doing over here, Mr. Dwayne?
One of the last quick things here is because of the space this ladder takes, we're going to pull these pins, and the ladder truly collapses.
Oh, cool. So you never have to take it off, you never have to store it. Now, what do you do with those pins once the ladder's folded up?
Pins go back in to lock the ladder back in place.
So it doesn't go flopping in transit.
In front of the leg.
That way it can't come down. Gotcha.
Exactly.
And as we're wrapping up here, just a quick demonstration running the ramp up down. It ain't complicated, guys. Now, one more cool thing here. When you do have these gates folded in place, there's a handy little safety strap right here to make sure that the gates aren't flopping around as you try to lift and lower the ramp. And just like Dwayne's doing, once you get it clipped, give it a nice little tug just to make sure it's snug. A tug for snug. Ha! I like that. All right, now these ramp doors, they look really big, but watch this. They go up pretty much lickety-split, and then you just hand walk them exactly like Dwayne's doing right here. They've got themselves an awesome little spring assist. And what Dwayne's doing now is once they're up, they'll pretty much hold themselves. We are taking a second to tuck these cables in, because obviously you don't want cables sticking out of the thing, you know, in that position. Now, if you notice, we're not quite making contact. What you do not want to do is push really hard. What you do not want to do is just start cranking on this thing, because here's what could happen. This is another item for maybe your departure checklist. The retractable screen wall in here needs to be all the way up. There you go, Dwayne. Go ahead and push your shut. See that? That little bit right there can make or break this thing. It can cause a difference, and the last thing you want to do is break the thing. Now you see how it's just smooth as butter. Another cool thing on these, you've got self-grasping cam locks. So like if I just start pulling down on this, even without key locking it, it won't pop itself open. Key locks are better though, you know, for obvious security purposes. All right, so now that our ramp is closed, quick little thing back here. It's easy to miss because it's below the skirt. And this is, when you have an RV, guys, it's one of the times that looking below the skirt is acceptable. Otherwise, you're just a creep. But there are two gas grill quick connects out here. So if you really want to cook up a storm, you can. Now, these work very, very much like those little quick release spray hoses. But the one extra thing they have here is like a lock. That makes it so that the sleeve can't accidentally pop off. So once you get your grill hooked up, or griddle as it were, you want to make sure it's locked in place. That's also what turns the gas off and on, by the way, so that, you know, if it's not working, you might be like, oh shoot, I forgot to do that. It's a handy little safety job. The lug nuts, Mr. Dwayne, could you walk us through that? Yes. Because this is a good, again, departure checklist item right here.
This particular unit is an 8 lug, and they're going to recommend approximately 120 foot-pounds. In other words, tight. Let's make them, if you've ever changed a tire, make sure they're tight. They just want to check that your lug nuts are tight, please. The other thing is, it's called a wash and repack of the axle bearings. Manufacturers are suggesting to have the bearings cleaned and new grease installed and new seals every 12,000 miles or every 12 months.
Gotcha. And basically what that's going to do is help keep all of our running gear lubricated so that you don't have, you know, obvious early wear and tear and breakdown issues.
That also allows us a perfect opportunity to inspect the brakes on the unit, so that the unit is helping you brake, helping the tow vehicle brake properly.
Well, especially a big, what, 14,000 pound fifth wheel like this, plus all the cargo in it, you got to make sure it's stopping itself and it's not pushing you through a stop sign.
Yes.
And finally, Mr. Dwayne's got one more little hitching safety item for us, and this is called our breakaway switch or emergency brake switch. Tell us about this thing, Mr. Dwayne.
What the emergency brake switch does, if the unit ever comes detached from the tow vehicle, this must be tied somewhere tightly to the tow vehicle. It will separate and set the electronic brakes on the unit so that this unit does not roll out into traffic or roll horribly uncontrollably.
So hopefully that never comes to pass, but God forbid. That is a like a last-ditch emergency brake thing to help get this RV brought down from speed as quickly as possible for your benefit and everyone else's on the road. Again, guys, can't stress enough, make sure this loop is attached to a fixed thing on your vehicle. I've seen people attach it, they're like, oh, I'll just wrap it around the 7-way plug. Well, if the 7-way plug and this come detached together, then this cable's never getting pulled. So this has to have a point where eventually it would meet resistance. Although I can't stress enough, I hope that never happens. All right, so Mr. Dwayne's gonna get her put away, and I just want to thank you folks for tuning in. This was not intended to cover every single nut, bolt, and widget. We did this, you know, out of normal practices, given the current state of world affairs, for the benefit of one of our clients. And we thought, you know what? I know some other clients could definitely benefit from that too. You know, if you're a long distance Haylett RV customer and you want to kind of see how your RV works before you take it home, it is possible that we could arrange to do something like this for your RV. But understand, folks, we cannot record footage like this with the time and manpower investment that it takes. On just like a general request, you need to be a Haylett RV customer, you need to make a purchase with us. And if you're willing to give us that opportunity, we're willing to bend over backwards, forwards, and every which way in between, just like we did here to help you out. So as always, give us a call, give us a chance. Doesn't matter if you live, you know, in the Midwest, East Coast, South, Southwest, West Coast, doesn't matter, Canadian folks. We work with just about anybody, just about anywhere. All we need is the fair opportunity to work with you. And just like we've done here, we will demonstrate our ability to serve you. And whether it's this one or any of this 5 to 6 to sometimes even up to 700 other RVs that we have in stock between new and used at a given point, ladies and gentlemen, chances are if it's on wheels, we have it. So as always, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Haylett camping, everyone.